Shavua Tov Agudvach. As we approach the 14th of Kislev, I want to share a story with you. That's the wedding anniversary of the Rebbe and the Rebbetzin back in 1928, a day that connects the Rebbe and his Chassidim. And here's a story of a wedding that took place some 30 years ago on that date. Rabbi Moshe Kidlarsky, who's in charge of helping open Chabad houses all over the globe, was once contacted by a friend of his from South America that his daughter had gotten involved in some undesirable places. She was in New York, and he was asking his help. Rabbi Kidlarsky reached out to the girl and invited her, and eventually she came to spend time with his family, and she decided to return to her roots. A few years later, she calls him up with great excitement. She's engaged. She's going to get married to an Israeli young man, and she would love for him, both of them want Rabbi Kidlarsky to run the wedding. They want a kosher wedding from beginning to end. When Rabbi Kidlarsky met with the bride and the groom, we discovered that the groom's grandfather had been an important rabbi in Warsaw before the war. Unfortunately, the chassan's father, one of the few survivors of the Warsaw Ghetto uprising, was very angry with God and wanted nothing to do with religion, and he refused to participate in the wedding. Anyways, plans went forward. It turned out that the wedding was set for the 14th of Kislev, as I said, the Rebbe's wedding anniversary. That morning of the wedding, Rabbi Kidlarsky wrote a letter to the Rebbe asking for a blessing for the wedding, for the couple, mentioning who the groom's grandfather was and the delicate situation with the groom's parents. Although they had moved to Israel, they were very upset. The Rebbe was on his way to the Ohel, and Rabbi Kidlarsky gets a message that the grandfather that you're mentioning was present at the Rebbe's wedding. He actually gave the Rebbe a gift, a book that he had authored. And the Rebbe suggested, take the book, and he gave the exact location in his library, take it to the wedding, and perhaps introduce the grandfather. Make a long story short, at the wedding, Rabbi Kidlarsky was asked to speak before the chuppah. The chuppah that the father of the groom was boycotting because it was too religious for him, and he was standing somewhere on the side. And Rabbi Kidlarsky told of this grandfather, how he was a big and important rabbi, a published rabbi, and then he said, I'm holding here his book. And he related how the Rebbe had asked that the book be present at the chuppah because certainly the grandfather would be delighted to see his grandson present at a kosher wedding, marrying a Jewish girl, etc., etc. And all of a sudden there was tears and crying as the father, the angry father, broke down into tears and approached Rabbi Kidlarsky and said, tell me what to do, I want to participate in my son's wedding. And they lived happily ever after. Anyways, may we live happily ever after, and remember where we came from. Have a great week.